This is Margaret Windsor. That's my real name, Queen Victoria II, legal heir to the British Crown. Uh, the name that was given me is Peggy Ann Childers. When I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace in 41 and brought to Moulton, Alabama, and given the name of a deceased twin. Both twins were dead, even had a different year that they were born in. Um, I've had to use that name. I married a Childers later. My point in this is I have done many, many tapes over the last month, several, last 2 months maybe, about mind control that I wrote about when I worked for doctors in 77, 78. Uh, Programming people way back then and how I put in there in part how it was done. I can tell you anybody if there was ever a hearing that would hear it. Um, by the way, I found out when I got could use YouTube that you can download MK Ultra and it tells some of this, not what I'm talking about, the ones done in patterns and the agency doing it, but MK Ultra was part of it. It's my understanding, but I know the other. Um, but it was the ones that I talked about was patterns. Now that I don't lose you, I'm just going to mention that I'm next door. This has been going on, I told it since 70. It's something people do not want to hear because the weapon being used is mind control. It's invisible. So therefore the person or persons, it can be a group, it can be an agency, it can be one person using the mechanism of mind control. You could do it with handsets. That's what they used before the agency started, made it so easy now. And I won't get into your satellites because then they'll start saying you're crazy. They mimicked mental illness so that they could blame anything that was said, even though it was happening to a person, and say they're mentally ill, and really mind control has been used. But you're not allowed to say that, even though now you can download it. So the point I wanted to make was next door to me in Virginia Tech, I won't go back over the list over the years, was the Fort Hood shooter. He finished school here at Blacksburg Tech, went on and got his psychiatric degree. He was born in Roanoke. And I wanted to mention James Holmes of the shootings in Aurora at the theater. The synchronicity is unreal if you know the patterns in the people's names and the coming together. So it's already gone so far, and people let it happen. I've told it, and I paid a price for telling about my kidnapping when I found out in '83 and trying to get something done about all this, the use of mind control and the people dying, getting raped. I want to show you in Zorings. He's a German diplomat's son. He's in a Virginia prison. The judge, the whole bunch of them in the court knew that mind control, it was patterns used in it for killing Elizabeth Hasem's parents, Nancy and Derek, in Bedford, Virginia. Now, so much of this has been done with politicians, everyone knowing it. Now, I wanted to make this short, so I don't know. I'm putting it on YouTube. If anybody's seen it, they aren't saying anything to me. I don't know it. My point here is that I want to tell you, personally, I know of, I'll go ahead and say it, an agent. And my ex-husband was CIA, I found out later. But he was there that day and had just left. And I had had antifreeze put in me April the 1st of 80 and was with my brain damaged and all that done. Lost my home. Didn't know if my children were alive or dead. Knew my ex-husband was a part of it. He came to see me at Warren House Apartments. When he walked down, he had to pass the agents that had been placed there 5 years before I came to Warren House in Huntsville. And so they knew 5 years ahead of time what was going to happen to me. This agent showed me pictures of 4 children that were his, but the mothers didn't know it. They were hypnotized. I don't know that they ever knew who the father was or not. But this has happened more than people know. And back, they can still use it. A Lone Ranger type person can use his handset and also be associated with the agencies using bigger stuff. Uh, they can rape you in dreams. Uh, they make you imagine. They tap in. So this is all going on, and people's reaction is, "Oh, that's crazy." Well, because of Snowden and some of the leaks, they're they're believing it, but it's like an FBI agent told me in Atlanta in '82 and prior. He yawned to show me, he fake yawning to show me how people responded to me and the hell I was telling them I was going through. He said, and what was being done to them. He said to me, they'll only care when they find out how it affects them, and he told the truth. Nobody wants to hear it. No wonder it's worked. Um, but to know that not just psychiatrists can misdiagnose, but can rape a patient, can do anything they want to. And by the way, one of them that I wrote about, he had a young girl, 12 years old, and I saw her come out of his office, and she was 12. She had plastic, like it was a plastic blouse. You could see everything. She was blessed, I guess you would say that, with large breasts, and she came out, and I was shocked, to see her come out of his office. And in essence, he told me he killed her. She was telling about it. Now, I don't know, someone can go back, and if there's a girl named Cindy, and she's still alive and did that, well, she's still alive, but he told me he killed her. I tried to write about that and a whole bunch of stuff. Now, I want to mention what you can do with psychiatry. It's the misuse of it. At law enforcement, any law enforcement, you have to have psych exams. They do. So you can hold your job over someone's head there and not give them a release to go back to work, say they got psych problems. So just the word psychiatry, they can put a stamp on anybody and pretty much do them in. In schools, they have counselors. Anything, especially psychiatry and doctors, can get away with using something good, but they turn up using it, and it's bad. Now, if I'm sounding like I'm babbling, I've tried all these people that are presidents or head of committees up there. All these agencies run around doing what they want to, killing people, raping, and they have. Oh, I'm going back to him before I forget. This is specifically the agent at Warren House. He told me that he had slept with, in other words, he raped her, a Miss runner-up America. He said from Oklahoma. So I know who I thought it was. I don't know. She didn't even know she was raped. So this is what they're doing with it. They can rape, erase the memory, and the person doesn't even remember it unless they're told to. So if you think this is just a hit and miss that somebody does, no, it's done much more than you think. And you know what I got for trying to tell all of it? I've been in hell. I mean, really. So really, here is what it boils down to. Mind control is a weapon that allows the culprit, the one using it, to remain anonymous. After all, who and how can you prove it? Like I say, it's you can't see it. You can't see mind control. The ones that I've talked about over the years, so they deliberately had me live this life other than being kidnapped, being the monarch, and having to look at Elizabeth and her brood sitting there using my money. They were the ones that had kidnapped me, her father, George VI, of the New World Order. So I don't know how I'm sounding on here. I've done nothing but tell the truth in all of it. And nobody appreciates it. Everybody, I think, thinks if I just evaporated, that all this would go away. Well, it won't. You may not know it, that it's being done and who it's done to, but the ones that I've told about since 70 were done in patterns. And I'm going to mention one more here at the end, and that's Ricky Nelson. And the plane, and David Nelson, his brother, was on Hustler, the front page, his picture or the front part. There was a story on him right after them, but there's more to the patterns. Gunnersville's near Huntsville, where I lived. So they've got patterns that kind of surrounded me and the things where I was at in the timeline. Also, his mother's real name was Peggy. So I'm going to leave it at that because I worked for Fred Simpson, and the next job I had was for Doyle Duke, the Golden Triangle. So the patterns were in the jobs I held and the names and timeline and all that. Simpson was supposed to be like associated with Wallace Warfield Simpson that married the imposter, really married her. He wasn't my father, but that's where the Simpson comes in. They were supposed to become the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, which was a lie, and the next job was Doyle Duke, as in the Duke of Windsor. I was living at Warren House, which is associated with Warren Commission's cover-up, and the reason they wouldn't tell about the real reason Kennedy and how the mind control used on Oswald and the one that shot Oswald, and there was a list of people who died with cancer suddenly, that you can make that happen with mind control. You can cure an illness or create it. But that's, you've got the gist of it there. I'm living at Warren House, working at Fred Simpson's, and Doyle Duke is the next. So, and by the way, that's when, sad to say, but that's when John Lennon was killed while I was working for Doyle Duke, 11 of 80, and he was shot by Mark David Chapman. So Mark's my son's name, David is my father's name, Edward VIII, and Chapman is C, the C out of Chapman. Now this is thread throughout it. And I don't know, I'm telling it here, and I'm going to get off where I can't upload it. But I don't think I can go any further, for my health is bad, and I'm paying a price for this, and it seems to be doing no good.